Okay, we have case number 300 and whatever. Case 382, why child support should be banned in the United States. Man, like I believe people want to say, "Hey, why are there no strong men anymore? Why is there so many weak men?" Well, a part of it is I always say this, if you want to eliminate weak men, you could eliminate child support. You can eliminate the welfare system, the food stamps, and all this stuff, these government prizes that you can win when you separate the kids from the father. Then you would bring back the quote unquote strong men. But that's just my opinion. But let's watch this video right here. So a man is going to ask, as a mother, what would make you keep your kids away from the father? And then you're going to have a woman responding to the man with her excuse. And it's going to be the typical stuff.
Question. As a mother, what would make you keep your...
I think a lot of single mothers would agree to what I'm about to say. But me as a mother, one reason why my child's father is not allowed around my daughter ever is once you prove to me that you are a harm to me, you prove to me that you are a harm to your daughter, even if you've never laid a finger on her. And on top of that, if you can neglect a woman during her most vulnerable stage in life called pregnancy, you do not need to be around your child. And I'm saying this out of respect and not out of bitterness, because a lot of the time, a lot of people take a single mother's post, twist it to fit their narrative and call her bitter. But a lot of single mothers are not keeping their kids away from someone. They are protecting their child away from someone who is a harm and who is not a safe place for that child. Because if you can neglect a child mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, you do not need to see your kid at all.
A question. As a mother, what...
You see, do you see why? Do you see why I believe child support should be eliminated? Or how about this? Not eliminated. How about this right here? It should be reserved for child support should be reserved, in my opinion, for if a couple has gotten married and the father initiates the divorce. And even then, we would have to go through. There needs to be obviously more things that go into it, and then when he's ordered the child support, what the child support should be, in my opinion, outside of the alimony, if there's alimony laws, whatever, y'all handle that. That should have been handled through the prenup. If you didn't get a prenup, that will be on, I'll put the responsibility on the father, right? Now, when it comes to child support, because child support is not covered in prenups, then what should happen is the child support should be put in a separate card, right? A debit card or a checking account, or put it in a debit card where it has to be strictly spent on the child. So no. So not for gas, not for rent, not for liquor, not for your nails or your hair. Strictly on the kid. And if not that, you could put the money into an IRA account, whatever, one of those investment accounts where you put certain money in it, and then by the time that the kid hits 18, he has all this money waiting for him so he can have options on whether or not he wants to go to college. He can use the money to go to college. He can use the money to start a business. He can use the money to travel abroad or do something else with his life. That's what that money should be. That's what I believe child support should be reserved for. It should not be for single mammies. Period. Bottom line. This is ridiculous. Everything that she said, she said nothing that should require where you're purposely keeping the kid away from the dad. And the only reason why you're doing that is because you know the more you keep the kid away from the father, the more money you get from the family court system. She knows this. So this whole thing about to be neglected at your most, what does that got to do with you? I mean, sorry, what does that got to do with the kid? he just don't mess with you like that. And hold on. Let's replay this because I'm hearing what she's saying, her excuse, and I already know what happened to her. But let me let her break it down so I can give you a clearer picture. Pause.
What would make you keep your...
I think a lot of single mothers would agree to what I'm about to say.
So whenever you hear a single mammy say, a lot of single mothers would agree with what I have to say, it's probably going to be nonsense. It's probably going to be something that actually does not make sense. Anything followed by all the single mothers would agree with me with this, ... Anything else after that, the period, the comma, or the whatever, ignore it. But I'm gonna listen to her story right here. Let's listen to her excuse.
Me as a mother, one reason why my child's father is not allowed around my daughter.
So why is this? Is it going to be abuse? Is it uh uh uh, uh verbal abuse? Whatever. Is it going to be what is it? What could possibly be your excuse for keeping the kid purposely away from the kid? What's the excuse?
Ever is once you prove to me that you are a harm to me, you prove to me that you are a harm to your daughter, even if you.
So, how did he prove a harm to you? Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen what she means harm, because you already know when women use these words, they'll say, like, women will say just abuse, just in general, and then you'll ask, okay, what kind of abuse? I'm like, did he have you, like, did he put his hands on you? Did he punch you? Did he kick you down the stairs? What's going on? And then you just be, well, it's not it's verbal abuse. He was verbally abusive. He was financially abusive, and you're just like, but the problem is they use the word abuse just so you won't question them. Because if you're a person like me, you'd be like, wait, what kind of abuse? And then this is where people, Chris, stop. No, what kind of I just want to know. And usually that story gets crumpled up, because if it's like really serious abuse, usually police is involved, but we already know how that works. But let's hear when she says harm. What did he do to harm you? Even though I didn't hear nothing about the kid yet, but let's see what he did to harm you.
Never laid a finger on her. And on top of that, if you can neglect a woman during her most vulnerable stage in life called pregnancy, you do not need to be around your child. And I'm saying this.
So she said he neglected her during pregnancy. Now, I need way more context behind that. That's not a good enough like, that's not a good enough explanation. So I'm like, okay, so clearly you guys were not married. That's already number one, because first of all, you're a black woman. So we already know the statistics behind that. So I already know y'all were not married. Second of all, second of all, if y'all were not married, why did you keep his kid? Because all this stuff about Mother's Day, that got to go out the window. Because the way I've seen, particularly in this election, where the economy is literally, I'm talking about our whole way of living has been collapsing in the West. And the number one issue for broads is baby deletion. and why can't they can't find a tall, good looking, attractive men to help them out? Like, I'm like, what? That's like their top two that's like their top two concerns going into the election. They're gonna vote for whoever helps them allow them to delete their kids. Now she wants to talk about, oh, he neglected me during this time where I was the most vulnerable, and as a mother, where's this ish coming from? I don't want to hear that ish. So, like I said, that's not. Now, I want you guys to notice she did not dive into the details of this. When she said he neglected me during the times of pregnancy, because now you know what that could mean a whole bunch of things. He could have actually, and people don't even consider, he probably could have been there, but because she didn't like how he was quote unquote taking care of her during that time, or maybe he was working too much during the pregnancy. She's going to call that neglect as well. You guys do know that, right? He could have been working through the whole time, trying to get money to prepare for this thing, and she calls it neglect. That could be one of those things. But I will say this is probably one of the classic. I will say I'm going to lean towards this situation is clearly a classic case of he was screwing you. You probably shouldn't have been screwing with this guy, but you liked him and you try to keep the kid because you thought there was something there, and you realized it really wasn't anything there. So, and you still decided to keep the kid out of spite to prove. So even though he told you that he didn't really fuck with you like that, and you still decided to keep his kid. I'm leaning towards that. That's not neglect. That's just you being a retard. I gotta stop saying these words. That's you being stupid. Okay. Let's keep it a buck. That's like we can't call this neglect. We cannot call that neglect. It's either that or the number two, what I said. The guy was trying to do what he can, even though he wasn't with you specifically. Maybe he had another family already, or maybe he was a single guy. He wasn't ready to have a family. So he's trying to get his life in order so he can prepare for this. And you were very insensitive to that. It's either one or the two. It's either example A or example B. for what she's describing, because she's not giving no, she notice she gave no she gave no, she was not specific. She thought she was slick. Women will do stuff. They can make a broad statement, but act like the broad, but say it like the broad statement is specific. Nah, that is not a specific example. Where neglect? What did he do to neglect you during the pregnancy? But these are the questions that people will refuse to ask single mammies. I'm talking about they refuse to. The Chads refuse to do it. The Tyrones refuse to do it. The men trying to sleep with her refuse to do it. And this is why they could just continue on. The family courts, the churches, the pastors, they refuse to do it. This is why they can just continue on and just, oh yeah, he abused me, or he neglected me. He did. It's all like, you guys are always getting played, but you guys swear you have women's intuition, but somebody's always doing you over. Somebody's always scamming you. How is that all? How can all of that be true? Nah, we got to start asking the real questions here. What did he do to neglect you? And then once you finally do the investigation, you'll be like, oh, this is just another woman that tried to keep a kid from a dude that she thought she was messing with. And you kept the kid to try to keep the dude around, and you miscalculated. That's it. That's not neglect. That's just you made the wrong decision. Low key, that's stupid, but it's just, that's what you decided to do that.
Out of respect and not out of bitterness, because a lot of the time, a lot of people take a single mother's post, twist it to fit their narrative, and call her bitter.
Oh, no. You're bitter. Because what does that have to do with his relationship with the kid? What does you feeling neglected have to do with the kid? For all we know, this guy could be a great father. He just doesn't mess with you. For all we know. And like I said, we already know why you're doing this. Women are going to use whatever excuses where if the father is not obeying her, meaning this, if the man is still not sleeping with his baby mom at any point of his life, if he's not sleeping with his baby mom, he's going to have trouble having a say in that kid's life. This is, I will say for 85% of cases. I would say around 80% of cases where this is happening. If a man is still, if he's not sleeping with his baby mom, no matter where he's at in life, if he's not continually to sleep with his baby mom, he's gonna have a hard time having a say in that kid's life. That's just, I just think that's just too much, power for one woman to have over a kid's life, because a kid is involved, and you're supposed to be doing something that have a plan that's best for the kid or the kids. You know what I mean? And that everything that she said, that had nothing to do with him being a father. Like it's always me. What? How are you treating me? Me.
But a lot of single mothers are not keeping their kids away from someone. They are protecting their child away from someone who is a harm and who is not a safe place for that child. Because if you can neglect a child mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, you do not need to see your kid at all.
She says all of this, but she did not mention that the father did that to the kid. She's projecting what the father, quote unquote, did to her onto the kid. How he treated you is not how he's going to treat the kid. I'll say this. I believe particularly a lot of women, but particularly side chicks that decide to keep the kid, they understand that they don't have the leverage really, but because they have the zaddy government helping them, they're going to whatever, child support, whatever, cohabitation, whatever they can use to hold over the man to keep leverage. Because really, without child support, without any of this stuff, women are very inconsequential to how a kid needs to be raised. And people can say that's kind of messed up. But I'm telling you this, like, after the age of, like, especially when you're talking about sons, like after the age of like 6, 7, I'll say after the age of 8, it's mostly the dad is gonna be on the dad to really rear the kid to where he or she needs to be after a certain age. Now, obviously, the mom is there. You're there, especially when you have a daughter. When the daughter is going through her biological changes, that's where the mom steps in, and this is where, when it comes to daughters and stuff like that. But they've done the statistics. with the single fathers and the kids, like they talk about, oh yeah, kids do best. They do the best when they're raised under two parents. No, they do the best when they're raised under one dad. They've done the statistics over this, and I'm talking about once they showed the results. I'm talking about offsprings of single fathers of them raising their kids. They do better. I'm talking about they have better results than kids that are raised with two parents. So the two avenues of success of raising or rearing raising a productive or successful kid is if they're under two parents, meaning under a mom and a dad, or just the dad. Now, when it's under just the mom, it's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. The only thing that you could say that you can have against the single father statistic, it's too small of a sample size. That's all they can say. And if that's all they can say about it, it kind of tells you what you need to know. It kind of tells you what you need, what you need to know.
A question.
But yeah, like that's just that's an example of, this is why, like, particularly when you talk about immature women like this that have not this guy right here.
As a mother, what would make you keep your?
I think a lot of
so when it comes to immature women like this should not, people like I've heard people say you should have a license first before you have a kid or something like they should have a license to have a kid. Like, no, the reason why I disagree with that, because there'll be a lot of unfit mothers like really struggling. They would have to make the test, like it would be bad. It would be bad. It would make women look really bad if we actually had like a license to, okay, you need to do this to be a parent, whatever. It would be a lot of women failing. I don't think people understand this, but that's just my opinion. But it's particularly when you talk about American women. LOL. So shout out to this woman right here. She goes, so my question to this post is, everybody's humping, but don't see no red flags before having that child. That's what it is. And let's get women. There's no such thing as an oopsie daisy baby in 2024. And they have all types of birth control. They have all types of, cycle calendars. You could get the app on your phone to know when you're ovulating. They have so many things to prevent this. All these organizations that trying to sterilize y'all, really, but you're having a baby with a dude and you didn't know that he didn't fuck with you like that, really, for real? Come on now. And let's keep it. You still kept it just to prove a point, because you were offended that he didn't see you as number one wifey material or whatever material that you thought you was, and you're bitter on that. So you're gonna keep his kid and use that against him for the rest of his life. Oh man. Okay, right here. Hold on, right here. So this woman says, she said, these comments are terrible. I'm not letting nobody neglect my child mentally, physically, emotionally, or financially, or let my child be around just because they are the biological parent. That is diabolical. First of all, she clearly didn't listen to the video. She didn't say that he did that to the kid. She's projecting that onto the kid. She specifically said he neglected her. She was not specific on what he did specifically to the kid. She said, during my most vulnerable time, he neglected me. So that's why I will not have him around my kid. Y'all hoes need to put on your listening glasses on. Yeah, that's why I'll be telling people that. I don't know if you noticed that in the comment section when people will say, oh, but did you really say, I can't believe you said this. I'm like, no, I said specifically this. You need to put your listening glasses on. That's what I'm gonna be putting on these. That's what I put on these posts a lot of the times, because people just hear what they want to hear. My goodness.